Hello students, welcome to the second part of Deliriant Poisons. In this class, I shall be discussing regarding two poisons, important one, cannabis and cocaine. So in the first part, I shall discuss regarding cannabis. It's also called as Indian hemp. There are three species of cannabis, that is cannabis sativa, cannabis indica and cannabis ruderalis. These are found all over India, Central Asia and South Asia. This cannabis is particularly known by different slang names such as pot, grass, weed, dope, hash, marijuana, MJ, hashish, bhang, and there are a few other slang. So this cannabis plant, it grows all over India, but its cultivation is restricted by law. You should remember that this is the second most common drug of abuse, that is second most common illicit drug of abuse, and it can be grown only for medicinal purposes, and hence the cultivation of cannabis is restricted by law. Coming to the properties of its plant, it is an annual plant, it is a dioecious plant, that is the male and the female plant, they grow separately and they have separate flowering. So the female plant is much taller, which is about 4 to 6 meters, and has more darker and luxuriant foliage than the male cannabis plant. So once again I tell that it is the most commonly used illicit drug of abuse. If you consider other drugs of abuse commonly used or abused are like caffeine, nicotine, alcohol and cannabis. But cannabis is the most commonly used illicit drug of abuse. The active principles in this plant are the cannabinoids, and the cannabinoids of importance are tetrahydrocannabinol, abbreviated as THC, which is the most active form which exerts its action, whereas the other two such as the cannabinol and cannabidiol are inert active principles. The tetrahydrocannabinol is a powerful CNS stimulant. It is lipid soluble and it gets rapidly absorbed after inhalation. THC, that is tetrahydrocannabinol, is metabolized in the liver and excreted in the feces and urine. Coming to the important aspect of this cannabis, that is the preparations of cannabis. The use of cannabis or cannabis is used to prepare various consumable things which may be used in household during festivals and also abused. So the first among them is the bhang. You know this word bhang is commonly used. It is also called as siddhi, sabji or patti in local languages, and this bhang is prepared from the dried leaves and fruit shoots of cannabis plants. This bhang is consumed as cannabis tea or it is mixed with milk. Add to that preparation, you can even add almonds and even spices, and this preparation is given to people during Holi and Vaisakhi festivals. Bhang contains very limited amount of tetrahydrocannabinol, that is in the concentration of 15%, and is considered to be the mildest form. So fresh bhang which is prepared is very much potent and intoxicating. But the same bhang, when it is stored for a period of 2 to 3 years, it loses its potency, that is the concentration of the tetrahydrocannabinol drop down, and it has an euphoric effect. It causes happiness in people. Usually this bhang is served to people during Holi and Vaisakhi festivals, and also people consume this bhang before singing or any form of stage performance like that, where they get that euphoric effect and they will perform very well. The second preparation of cannabis plant is called as majoon. This is nothing but a sweet prepared with bhang. So this sweet is mixed with honey and ghee, and even to a certain extent datura seeds and also poppy seeds are also added, and the sweet is prepared. This sweet acts as an appetizer as well as an aphrodisiac. The criminal use of this sweet can also be made, wherein the road poisoners, such as the criminals who target their victims while journey, they may give the sweet to the victims, and the victim after consumption this may fall asleep, and the criminals may resort to their criminal activities. The third preparation is ganja, also popularly known as marijuana. It has a rusty green color. It's a powder with a characteristic odor, and this ganja is mainly prepared from the flowers of the female plant. So it is a rusty green powder with a characteristic odor which is prepared from flowers of the female plant. This ganja is mixed and smoked with tobacco, either in the pipe or hookah, and it can also be smoked in the form of cigarettes, when those cigarettes are called as reefers or joints. This is a common name in drug jargon. Once again, reefer or a joint refers to ganja which is smoked in the form of cigarettes. And this ganja is usually the stronger form of the cannabis preparation, with 15 to 25% of tetrahydrocannabinol in it. Coming to the next preparation of cannabis, that is charas, also called as hashish. It is a dried resin of cannabis plant excluding from the it is a dried resin of cannabis plant exuding from the leaves and stem of the plant. The slang names for charas include dope, or also called as shit, and it is the most potent form, wherein the concentration of tetrahydrocannabinol is more, which is in the range of 25 to 40%. And this charash or hashish is usually dark green or brown in color. So this charash or hashish can also be mixed with tobacco and smoked just like ganja, either in the pipe or the hookah or in the form of cigarettes. A concentrate of cannabis is produced by repeated extraction, so that you obtain a dark viscous liquid which is called as hashish oil. And this hashish oil, that 1 or 2 drops of it can also be added to tobacco of the cigarette and smoked. Coming to its acute poisoning state, the signs and symptoms differ from persons to person depending upon the life experiences the person experiences, whatever the experience the person has had it in his life or during his life. So depending upon that experience, the signs and symptoms differ. It also depends upon personality styles. The person may be very mild or he may be aggressive normally also. So depending upon those personality styles, the signs and symptoms of acute poisoning of cannabis differs. And the signs and symptoms also differs on the environment in which the person is present, whether he is present in a familiar environment or in an unfamiliar environment. Maybe in a familiar environment he may have a more profound effect and a happy feeling, whereas in an unfamiliar effect he may not have that effect, or he may not be happy with the use of or abuse of cannabis. Similarly, the signs and symptoms also differ from the social setting. That is, if he is with a known group of friends, then he may enjoy the abuse of that particular cannabis, or if he is strangers, he may not feel that comfortable in that social setting. Coming to the time of appearance of signs and symptoms. Remember that cannabis can be either smoked. So when the person smokes it, the symptoms appear soon after smoking and the effect lasts for about 1 to 2 hours. Whenever the person smokes, the environment will have a characteristic burnt rope odor on smoking. So if a normal person visits that particular area wherein a person who is abusing cannabis by means of smoking, he may appreciate the characteristic burnt rope odor. Cannabis may also be ingested. You know the preparations, bhang, majun, right? So when the such preparations are ingested, then the symptoms appear within half an hour and they last for about 2 to 3 hours. So coming to its psychiatric manifestations. These clinical manifestations or psychiatric manifestations depend upon the dosage that the person consumes. So in smaller doses of cannabis consumption, the person may have a sense of well-being, he may feel confident, his thoughts have clarity or feelings have clarity, he may take clever decisions, then there is detachment, and he may be disinhibited to take any action, he may be in a state of dreaminess, the person is elated, sometimes he may be laughing with relaxation, emotions may be labile, that means the emotions of a person may change from happiness to sadness. The person at one instance may be laughing, at the next moment he may be crying. So these manifestations occur at a smaller dosages of. When the cannabis is consumed in moderate doses, there will be illusions, there will be hallucinations, maybe auditory hallucinations or visual hallucinations. The person may have a decreased attention span, concentration of that person is decreased, the person may be disoriented, he may show irresponsible behavior, or he may become excessive talkative, and sexual feelings are heightened. Later he may become drowsy and pass into a sleepy like state. But in high doses, person may experience changes in the body image. He may have a depersonalization effect. That means he may get detached. He may feel that there is nothing. So he will have a depersonalization effect, and there may be marked sensory disturbances. So coming to the physical manifestations. What previously I talked was the psychiatric manifestations. then what happens actually, a physical manifestations to that person after consumption of cannabis? There will be an increased appetite and thirst. The person becomes very much hungry, and even his thirst may be increased. He may feel slight nausea, heaviness, and slight headache, that is pressure in the head. He may feel dizziness, somnolence. There may be paresthetic feeling or paresthesias. He is become restless. There may be tremors and tachycardia, heart rate is increased. There may be increased urinary frequency also, and there may be impaired mental functions. Coming to the fatal dose of the cannabis preparations, charas being a most potent or having high concentration of tetrahydrocannabinol, so small amount of charas is sufficient to bring about the death of a person, that is around 2 grams. Ganja, if consumed in a dosage of 8 grams, may bring about a death of a person. Bhang being the mild form, so around 10 grams per kg body weight will result in death of a person. Whereas tetrahydrocannabinol consumed as such, that is in the range of 30 milligrams per kg body weight, brings about the death of a person. The cause of death after consumption of cannabis is usually due to respiratory failure, and the fatal period after consumption, death occurs within several days if not treated effectively. So what is the treatment of acute poisoning state of cannabis? First, you try to assure the patient that nothing is going to happen. Carry out stomach wash or induce an emesis, that is vomiting. Use activated charcoal and cathartic. If the patient is found to be very much violent, then you can use 5 to 10 milligrams of intravenous diazepam. And if the person is experiencing flashbacks, then give him anti-anxiety drugs. You can also treat that person with antipsychotics, and also psychotherapy would be beneficial. The postmortem appearances in cannabis poisoning are those mainly that resulting due to asphyxia. Coming to the chronic poisoning state of cannabis. So chronic poisoning state results from the use of drug in small quantities for a longer period. This chronic poisoning state may not be harmful at once, but it produces its effect. So there will be tolerance and psychological dependence for the drug. Excess use of this cannabis, this leads to degeneration of the central nervous system, and it may lead to insanity. What type of insanity? We'll talk it in the subsequent slides. Chronic use may also result in the decreased testosterone level and even decreased in the sperm count. So the person may become impotent as well as also sterile. And the manifestation of decreased testosterone may cause gynecomastia. With the chronic use of cannabis, person may lose appetite, he may become weak, there may be wasting of the muscles, tremors may develop, he will always have a sleepy facial expression, a vacant look, eyes may be congested always, person, as I told, he may become impotent, and there may be mental retardation. Chronic use develops hashish psychosis. The people suffering from hashish psychosis suffer from auditory and visual hallucination. Person may perceive sounds which are not existent, or person may visualize things which are not existent, that is auditory and visual hallucination. And he may also suffer from delusion of persecution, that the person may think that somebody is trying to kill him or somebody is going to try to harm him. This is delusion of persecution, right? So the person will develop auditory and visual hallucinations and also delusion of persecution. Heavy marijuana users or heavy users of ganja may develop maniac or paranoid psychosis. The person may run amok. What is run amok? I will tell in the next slide. So what is run amok? In run amok, there will be a psychic disturbance which is marked, very much marked, and it is followed by a period of depression. And the person may be violent and attempts to kill people. There is an impulse murder. The person feels that he wants to kill any other person, or he wants to kill a person whom he has a real enmity or an imaginary enmity. After killing such persons, he then kills anyone that comes in his way until the homicidal tendency lasts. So once that period comes down or the homicidal tendency comes down, he becomes depressed, during which he may commit suicide or surrender. So this is called as run amok. So run amok is a condition seen in persons who are heavily abusing ganja or marijuana, and in them there will be a psychic disturbance which is followed by a period of depression. In this psychic disturbance period, the person will be violent. He kills a person with whom he has real enmity, or he may kill any other person with whom he feels that he has enmity, that is an imaginary enmity, and then kills anyone that comes in his way. This killing lasts for a period till the homicidal tendency lasts, and later he becomes depressed. Either he may commit suicide or surrender to the police. This is run amok. Chronic use of cannabis may also lead to amotivational syndrome. Person does not feel any interest in the life or the surrounding. He is very lethargic. There is lack of interest and there is low tolerance. He is easily frustrated and there is impaired concentration. So that is amotivational syndrome seen with the chronic use of cannabis. Remember, cannabis does not cause physiological dependence or addiction. Person may have a psychological dependence, but he may not be addicted or does not show any physiological dependence. So cannabis compounds can be detected in biological specimens by radioimmunoassay. Coming to the medical legal importance or circumstances of poisoning. The most poisoning cases of cannabis are due to overindulgence of the abuse of cannabis. Sometimes accidental ingestion are also possible, or accidental inhalation is also possible. Majun and charas, these are the two preparations where the road poisoners may use them to facilitate robbery or any other criminal activities. Sometimes a criminal may take this cannabis preparation so that he thinks that he gathers strength to commit any criminal act. And this cannabis may also be used as an aphrodisiac. Though it is a false aphrodisiac, people may think that it enhances or increases the sexual performance, and hence they consume it as an aphrodisiac. There is one interesting thing, that is second-hand marijuana smoke. What is the second-hand marijuana smoke? This condition is seen in person who is not at all a smoker, but happens to visit an area where the person is addicted to cannabis smoking, and during the time of smoking of cannabis by that person, this innocent person enters that room, and the smoke that is present in the environment may also bring about slight effect in that particular person also, and whatever acts he commits during that period, or he may be falsely implicated in that particular situation as being consuming cannabis. So this is called as second-hand marijuana smoke. Interesting one. Okay. Coming to the next deliriant poison, which has various names. It is called as blue. It is simply referred to as C. It is called as Charlie. It is called as Coke. It is called as Cadillac. It is called as Devil's Dandruff. It is called as White Lady. It is called as She. It is called as Snow. Yes, it is nothing but a colorless, odorless, crystalline substance with a bitter taste, and that is cocaine. So these are the various slang names, that is Blow, C, Charlie, Coke, Devil's Dandruff, She, Snow. Various slang names for cocaine. So it is a colorless, odorless, crystalline substance with a bitter taste. How this cocaine is obtained? Cocaine is obtained from the leaves of Erythroxylum coca plant, which grows abundantly in South America. It also grows in India, Java, and various other places. This coca leaf contains about 0.5 to 1% of cocaine. The cocaine from the leaves is extracted or obtained by treating these leaves with sulfuric acid. So once the leaves are treated with sulfuric acid, you obtain cocaine sulfate. This cocaine sulfate is further treated with hydrochloric acid, where you obtain cocaine hydrochloride. This cocaine hydrochloride contains 90% cocaine, and this is the one which is either snorted or injected. But this cocaine hydrochloride cannot be smoked. So the smokable form of cocaine is nothing but the free cocaine or free base, or also called as crack. This free base or free cocaine is produced by treating cocaine hydrochloride with baking soda when it makes a crackling sound, and hence the name crack. Act of snorting free cocaine is called as free basing. I repeat, act of snorting free cocaine is called free basing. Remember, cocaine is the second most commonly used illicit drug of abuse, the first being cannabis. So cocaine is the second most commonly used illicit drug of. So how does this cocaine act? Cocaine acts by blocking the reuptake of biogenic amines such as dopamine, epinephrine, norepinephrine, and serotonin. It increases the excitatory amino acid concentrations in the brain, thereby stimulates the brain. So thus this cocaine, by increasing the excitatory amino acid concentration in the brain, it acts as a powerful CNS stimulant and later depresses the central nervous system. This cocaine also acts by causing vasoconstrictions at the site of application. Coming to its absorption and excretion, cocaine is rapidly absorbed from the mucous membrane and the subcutaneous tissues, and it is rapidly hydrolyzed in the liver by the plasma cholinesterase enzyme to ecogene methyl ester and by non-enzymatic hydrolysis to benzyl ecogene. Signs and symptoms of cocaine poisoning. Biological half-life of cocaine is just half to 1 hour. So when the cocaine is inhaled, the onset of the signs and symptoms occur within 1 to 3 minutes. When it is injected or smoked, the onset is very quick, within seconds, and peaks the action in 3 to 5 minutes. The topical application to nasal mucosa, the action is seen in 20 to 30 minutes. And if the cocaine is ingested, the action is bit delayed. It takes about 1 to 1.5 hours. Since the duration of action is very much short, so repeated intake of cocaine is required to maintain the high. Signs and symptoms can be divided into stages. The first stage being the stage of excitement. In this, the person has a bitter taste in the mouth, there is dryness of the mouth, dysphagia, he is in a euphoric state, that is a sense of well-being, and he may be tired also. The patient may be excited, talkative, and later passes into a calm and dull phase. Since being a stimulant, it increases the pulse rate, increases the respiratory rate, which is very much deep, pupils are dilated, person may feel headache, there is pallor of the skin, cyanosis may develop, sweating, and temperature is also raised. Cocaine produces hypertension. The blood pressure is increased, which may lead to cerebral bleeding. Reflexes are exaggerated. There may be tremors and even convulsions. Hallucinations may be present. Patient may become maniacal. There is feeling of tingling and numbness in the feet and hand. The numb feeling at the place where the drug has touched. Example like the nose and back of the throat when it is sniffed. So the numb feeling will be there. And in the second stage, there is a stage of depression. Within an hour, respiration becomes very much feeble. There will be profuse perspiration. Person may collapse, he may convulse and die. Death is once again due to respiratory failure, or it could be due to cardiac failure or vascular collapse. Sudden death in cocaine abuse is mainly due to cardiac arrhythmia, which further leads on to cardiopulmonary arrest, and the person will. So this is interesting. Speedball. Speedball is nothing but it's a combination of cocaine and heroin taken by injection. This is known as speedball. Remember, the slang name for cocaine is she, whereas heroin is called as he. So he and she mixed together causes speedball. That is, combination of cocaine and heroin taken by injection is known as speedball. The fatal dose of cocaine is 1.5 grams consumed orally, and fatal period is within few minutes to few hours. Treatment: if the cocaine is ingested, carry out gastric lavage with warm water containing potassium permanganate, charcoal or tannic acid. If snorted, wash out mucous membrane with water. If injected, apply ligature above the part. And convulsions arising out of cocaine are controlled by the use of chloroform or short-acting barbiturates. Amyl nitrate is the antidote given by inhalation. Rest others are, you have to maintain the airway circulation and carry out symptomatic treatment. If you find that the person who has consumed cocaine is hyperthermic, wherein that is one of the symptomatic action of cocaine, where the temperature of the body is increased, in such cases the person has to be treated with ice cold water and not to give any other antipyretics, or even dantrolene is avoided. So you can give ice cold water treatment for hyperthermia caused due to cocaine abuse. Post-mortem appearances, usually there will be signs of asphyxia. When examined, the heart shows foci of scarring which may be source of fatal arrhythmias. Cocaine decomposes rapidly, so blood should be preserved by adding fluoride. If you want to send the sample of blood for FSL, that is Forensic Science Laboratory, for analysis, in that case the blood should be preserved by adding fluoride. And cocaine can be removed or recovered from recent injection sites or by swabs from the nasal mucosa. Cocaine habit. So the chronic cocaine consumption is also known as cocainism, cocainophagia or cocainomania. Chronic abusers can tolerate even up to 10 grams daily. It causes digestive disturbances, anorexia, there will be excess salivation, the heart rate is increased, tachycardia, respiratory rate is increased, tachypnea, and the person is sleepless. The face appears pale, the eyes are sunken, pupils dilated, the tongue and teeth appear black in color. Over a period, addict loses his interest in family, friends, and even in food, and also the sexual activity of that person's interest in sexual activity is also lost. Person will appear emaciated and physically exhausted. Manic and depressive psychosis may develop in later stages. Complications of chronic cocaine use are, there may be persistent rhinitis, the person may suffer sinusitis, there will be chronic cough or may develop bronchitis. The sniffing habit leads to ulceration of the nasal septum, but perforation is rare. But there are cases where even the nasal septum is perforated by continuous sniffing habit of the cocaine. Even the soft palate may also be perforated by the sniffing habit. Then further there will be degeneration of the central nervous system, and person suffers from hallucinations, convulsions, delirium, and person may become or progress to insanity or mental illness. One characteristic feature of chronic cocaine consumption is known as Magnan's symptom. Remember, Magnan's symptom is a feature noted in persons who are consuming cocaine for a longer period, that is chronic cocaine consumption. Now what is this Magnan's symptom? Magnan's symptom is also called by the other name cocaine bugs. So the person who is habituated or addicted to cocaine consumption, there is feeling as if grains of sands are lying under his skin, or some small insects are creeping on the skin, which gives rise to itching sensation, that is formication, or also called as tactile hallucination. So Magnan's symptom is seen in chronic cocaine abusers, which is also called as cocaine bugs. There is a feeling of green sands lying under the skin, or some small insects creeping on the skin, which gives rise to itching sensation. This is also called as formication or tactile hallucination. Coming to the medico-legal importance of cocaine or circumstances of poisoning. Cocaine may be rarely used for homicide or suicide purpose. Accidental deaths occurring are mainly due to addiction or hypodermic injection or rectal injection of the cocaine. And cocaine is once again believed to be an aphrodisiac, that is, it increases the sexual power. So thank you, students. This completes the chapter on deliriant poisons.